What's up, YouTube? It's Trill Manila, day 84 on the road to code, 100 days code challenge. Today's topic is inheriting from the event emitter. But before we got into all that, was just another refresher of JavaScript fundamentals. Things like ES6, object.create, template literals, call, dot call, and dot apply. And well, first of all, let's talk about what inheritance is. So the order in which fundamental JavaScript concepts were presented set up how inheritance works, because all these things were related to inheritance pretty much, the ES6. But by using function constructors and object.create, it places a prototype object in between two new objects in which you want an object to inherit properties. And this creates a prototype chain from one object to another, and will have its prototype be the properties and features that you're actually looking to add on. And because of how prototype chains work, we will still be able to access it further down the chain if we wanted more objects to have access to the properties as well. And that is the benefits of prototype chaining. And it's also related to inheritance. And to sum it up, object 1 can have access to properties and methods on object 2 because of object.create, and object.create made the empty middle prototype object. And object.create, you just create a lot of things on the fly. It just makes it a lot easier using object.create. But the basic syntax for inheritance is one example that we did on the course was first step that I learned in creating inheritance in a event emitter is to create a variable equal to require core modules in Node.js. The events modules is what we required from Node, so that gets all the data from the events folder in Node. And basically it was just var event emitter equals require, and in parentheses comma events, quotes. And then after requiring it, what we did was create a function constructor, and in our example is getter, and then this dot greeting equal hello world, and then we use the inherent function, which is util.inherit is how we call the event emitter. And in parentheses we have getter and event emitter, so that calls getter and event emitter, and then the inherent function as well is in there, so it just all ties in together. So yeah, so recap, it was requiring events to be able to use the inheritance event emitter, and then creating a function for a function constructor, and then use the inheritance function, like literally. And another thing that we got is something similar to a super constructor, because at this point we are able to create a new property or method of an object being created on the fly with function constructors. However, this leaves out something important. We're able to inherit down a prototype chain, but this is not a consistent pattern, since it is not consistent with every new object we create. There is a new object of inheriting properties and methods directly to the new object. And this new syntax, in the above syntax that we did, the new object was being created whenever we say new, then function constructor. This is incomplete inheritance. However, one line of code fixes this. Event.emitter.call parentheses this. This is equivalent to a super constructor, meaning the constructor that I'm inheriting from using .call or .apply gives a new object that I'm working on properties and methods to the new object. And in the new example, keyword inside the event emitter will be the same inside greeter, while at the same time prototype chain is still set up the same way, so that properties and methods are still available to all objects that are created from this function constructor. And yeah, that is pretty much how inheritance works in event emitter inside of Node.js. And as always, just like, comment, and subscribe. This is today's update. Peace out.